to Kingdom Living Today with Apostle Desiree Andrews, broadcasting from our Kingdom Ministry Studio in Tallahassee, Florida. Join Apostle Des with today's word just for you.
Praise the Lord. Bless the Lord. Bless the Lord. Hello, everybody, and I want to welcome you to Kingdom Living Today. We have a special guest. We're going to do this is take two of this here with my special guest. Let me go ahead and bring in Francis Rosales. God bless you. How are you?
God bless you. I am doing great, Apostle Desiree. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to speak to your listeners.
I'm so excited to have you here and just thanking God for all the trouble that we have had. I know this must be something that needs to be heard, the message that you have. So, I want to jump right in there because we started this a couple of days ago, trying to do this. And with all the difficulties that was coming up, listen, I wanted to give you due diligence in this. So, if you will, we're going to start over. And what I want you to do is just go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity and do a take two, like you said. I know we tried last time and we ran into some difficulties. I think it's because of the weather. We can always blame the weather, right? So my name is Francis. First and foremost, I am a mother. I have 4 children. 3 of them are really my bonus kids that I inherited through my husband. And then he and we have a 3-year-old. I am a mom who's utterly invested in the education of our children in the public school system. All of them have gone through the public school system. I graduated from the University of Tennessee in Knoxville with a biochemistry degree, which I don't do anything with it. I'm one of those people, but it helped me transition into a career that uses the same skill sets that I learned as a biochemist. So there was no loss there. So as you can tell from my background and having my children, that this is an area that I'm highly invested and focused on. So that's just a little bit about me.
All right. That's awesome. That's awesome. And so running for school board, coming up in Tennessee, I imagine things are quite different from when you and I were in school. And we see some different things going on in our school systems. And so what made you decide to run for school board?
You're right. We are seeing a lot of things that are different as we were coming up than when you and I. So how it all started, like I said, I've always been invested in my children's education. I've been a parent that has been involved in all of the whole entire thing, meeting with our teachers, principals, and the whole 9 yards. But during the pandemic, it was a little bit different. There was a lot going on during that time. I don't fault the teachers or anyone for that matter, because we were trying to figure out how to best go back to school. But it did give me insights into some of the decision making by the school board, who was making the policies for the whole entire county. And during that time, that's when my 3-year-old happened to be in our home. She's adopted, by the way, and she was 5 months. And so I was balancing taking care of her and trying to help my son, who needs extra help with his homework and his studies. It just became a very challenging time. And so I had to rearrange my schedule to become more of a teacher. And if I was going through some difficulties and trying to balance that as a mom who had the resources to hire a tutor and what have you not. Some other families probably didn't have the same resources. So it started making me think about who's really involved in our school setting and who's really making those decisions. And our parents being involved in that decision making. Our board members are they parents who have kids in the system? And what I saw is that we don't have as many parents in the school board system today that understand the decisions and that magnitude of those decisions and the impact as they're making them for the whole entire county. And so that really pushed me into the forefront and wanted to take a deeper, closer look into it. And I started going to every single board meeting, addressing the board when there were issues that I thought that needed to be addressed. And I didn't just give talking points, but I also gave solutions of things that they possibly could think about and look into as they were making decisions. So that's really how it all came into fruition, into being of what really drove me into that initially. But as I got into it more, there's other issues that also are driving my decision as well. And we can talk about those later as we get in the conversation.
Okay, yeah, sure. So let me ask you, you were saying that, you just didn't know a lot of stuff that was going on. You didn't see a lot of the parents there. Do you think that is by design? Do you think parents don't know about school board meetings, or that they can even attend school board meetings, or that they feel like they have a voice at school board meetings?
So during COVID, I think things were exposed, and it drew parents to be more involved and to pay attention, because we were having to be put on the driver's seat. Before, we were kind of on the passenger seat and just being led by the school. But because we had to take on the driver's seat and become teachers for our kids, that opened the door for parents to come in. Now, the question is the communication being broad and expanded for the whole entire community? For example, we had a parent round table not long ago, which is a great idea. I think that's good to have a parent round table, give opportunity for the parents to come and speak and give the insights for frustrations or concerns. And then the board members can listen to that, and then speak and give a response to that, which was great. However, when you look at the makeup of all of the people that was going to these board meetings, I don't believe there was a representation of what our county looks like. We didn't have a good representation of Hispanic families attending, or even minority groups attending. So I think one of the reasons why parents may not be as involved, not because they don't want to be involved, is maybe due to the communication. The communication may not be transmitted and going out as it needs to be. Or we have bilingual families who don't speak the language. Maybe the language barrier is causing that. And so as a board member, that is something I want to tackle, and is to help distribute that communication so that more parents can be in the know and be aware of what's going on.
Okay, yeah, and that sounds good. I mean, you would definitely have to know, first of all, that there are school board meetings, and that you can participate where they are and all that. It's like, and I'm liken it to this. We have a homeowners association here where I live, and nobody knows when the meetings are. Nobody knows where they are, but we get an email saying that a meeting took place. And it's like, well wait a minute. So with that, being involved, I'm sure there's some things that can be improved in the communication between parents and school board members. So how about you tell us what then are some of the responsibilities of school board members? Because I would think that, I know I was on, when I lived in Kansas, I was on the Human Relations Commission, and we had to post when we would have meetings. I would think that some notice has to go out as well about the school board meeting. So what is the responsibilities, and who, if anybody on the school board, would be responsible for letting people know about that?
So as part, like we were mentioning before, pre-COVID, I don't think people really knew that school boards even existed, right? Because it was a very local position, and a lot of these races are on the local level don't get the same magnitude of attention like you will if you were running in a bigger race, like a federal.
Mhm.
So when COVID came, that changed a lot of that and brought things up to the surface. And I didn't know myself that when the meetings were. I knew we had a school board, but I did not know when they were happening. So I had to look for that information.
Right.
I had to go to the website and kind of do the Google search, thank God for Google, and find the information there. And so I happened to, like I said, get that information. And I'm just one person, and I started distributing the information to, you brought up the whole HOA. So my Facebook group, we have an HOA, and I've been on there before to tackle some issues and say, hey, this is when the school board is meeting. We need to attend this meeting. This is how you can talk to people, address the school board. You got to fill out this form and kind of lay it all out. And so as a school board member, one thing I want to work on is that when we're having things that are very important or of time is of the essence, I would like to say, that we amplify that communication and not solely relying on social media. Because today, some of that information is being transmitted, is being distributed through social media. I just don't think our families are all on our social media, and then they're wanting to get surveys and get the input of our community, but it's very time sensitive. You're only given about 3 to 4 days, or maybe less than that. So if you're not on social media, you're not aware of what's going on. And then given that you have that time sensitive, then you miss out of being part of that inclusion and giving that feedback. We have a situation not too long ago where something of that nature happened, where they're wanting to get feedback from our superintendent because we were in the process of hiring a new one, and they wanted to get community input, which is great. I mean, that's wonderful. But the thing about that is that there was only a 2-day window or something like that. I don't want to say exactly how many, the time frame, but it was very short time frame. So I was looking for this particular email because I happened to be in the meeting. They said that they were going to send the email out to the families, and then we were instructed to, once we got the email, we were to go into the survey through the link. So I waited for this email that just never came through my inbox, or my husband's inbox for that, because that's who has tied to the communication with our school. So I went on Facebook and kind of said, hey, have you guys gotten this email? It's very important. You've got to submit your feedback if you are concerned about who's going to be the superintendent and yada, yada, yada. Well, there were some families that were in the same boat as I was who did not get the email. And so the time of that survey passed. So by the time I went to the school to say, hey, I never got this email, the time had elapsed. So they got feedback, but didn't get feedback from people that wanted to participate because of the time sensitive to that. And also because there was not a way for send reminders to people to say, hey, you've got 1 more day to do this. So I think there's definitely improvement for the communication, and thinking about what other ways that communication can be distributed. Maybe, go the old-fashioned way and the snail way by printing that information and then handing it to the children, and making sure that they will at least take it home. And if there's families that don't understand the language, that we do a better job of including them by translating that information. And so that's something that I want to really focus on, is how do we amplify the communication so that it gets distributed out and families can be more involved.
Right. And that is so very important. And with all the things that we have heard about school boards in just recently, and all the revelations, everything that is coming up, it's almost like they don't want the parents involved. Now, maybe some school boards are different, maybe some are really advocating for the students and really want to do what's best, but it just seems like there's a lot of school boards that are being exposed. And like you said, because of COVID, a lot of stuff is coming out. And I want to apologize ahead of time if this doesn't get put out wide and far, because I'm even searching my social media while we're on here, and it's supposed to be streaming live, and it is streaming, but I don't see the feed. So it's like, I understand, because there are a lot of things that are coming out about the corruption that's in the school boards, and the so-called powers that be do not want this information to come out. Now, I may be paranoid. I may be a little paranoid about this, but I'm just seeing this and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not, but anyway, we will get this out far and wide, and we will make sure that because I'm telling you, it just seems like it is just so much corruption that is going on. And because of that, I'm flabbergasted. That there are people like you who are standing up and taking position for to get on these school boards and all that. I've been in Tallahassee for 7-8 years now. I attended my first school board meeting, maybe 2 months ago or a month ago. And just to see the things that are being said and what they're trying to push and all of that. And the people that are there, you're like, wait a minute, but don't you have children? But like I said, it just blows your mind about stuff. But I'm glad that you are taking a stand with that. And with that, if you will go into explaining a little bit about the school boards, and well, who do they report to? I mean, there has to be a chain of authority some kind of way. And I know you saw the I forget what county it was. The parents voted all the school boards out and voted the parents in. So I mean, who do the school board? I thought they worked for us, or
right. So the school board, it's an elected position. So in actuality, we do report to our constituents, those who put us in the school boards. And right now, you're kind of raised some concerns. There's just concerns about who's in the school boards, who's making the decisions. Now, the decisions that are being made is supposed to be decisions that benefit the county in regards to our children's education. And one of the reasons why I am running besides everything else is because I do care about our education. I believe every child deserves a good quality education. So it matters who's sitting in the boards, and who matters who's making those decisions on behalf of our children. Because we can be elected for sure, but you really have to spend time to find out what those issues are, what's going on in the county, and so that when you are in that position, you're ready to lead, and that you are in front of your constituents and they see you and they know who you are, and that they can come to you and share what the concerns are so that everyone is on the same page. But like, you mentioned in the beginning that it was very different for you and I, obviously, when we were growing up. When we were growing up, to be honest, I couldn't tell you what my teachers marital statuses or even,
Right.
certain things. So now it just seems like that's become a popular thing, and it's becoming a thing that our children are supposed to be made aware of that. And so part of the reason why I'm running is because we've got to come back to the time where we can send our kids to the schools and we have confidence that they're being taught to read, write, subtract, and add and divide. And then now we're sending our kids to school, but we're not sure what they're being taught. And so you've got these parents like myself who are concerned about the quality of education of our children. Because if our children graduated from 12th grade and we're expecting them to be productive citizens and make something of themselves, but they're lacking in the education, then we're only doing them a disservice at this point. And so I put my name in the hat because I care about our children and I care about the quality of education. And having a child myself in the system also helps that desire even more, because I'm invested in that. So.
And we need to get more of the parents invested as well. More of the parents aware of what is going on, what is happening, what is being said, what is being done. Because again, like you said, with COVID, it just exposed a whole lot of stuff, even the curriculum of what is being taught in our schools. And crazy stuff like the CRT, like all the stuff with the trans and LGBT and all, and sexuality stuff. And I remember, and we didn't have, it wasn't called sex ed when I was growing up. It was called health education, health ed. And so, they did talk about the biological processes for a woman when she starts, a girl when she starts, menstruating and things like that. But it didn't get into all this crazy stuff like they're trying to push on the children now. And it's like, we have really been lulled to sleep if this is the kind of stuff that was able to get in there, and even in the libraries of these elementary schools. So I'm to the point where it's like, how did we miss this? You know what I'm saying? How did we allow this to happen and just to come up like this? What are some of the things for, like, with the school board? What do they set curriculum? And they vote on curriculum, or tell us how curriculum is brought into the schools, if you know.
So in regards to curriculum in a public school setting, those standards are set by the federal level, and so we're having in the state level, so we're having to deal with that. And so, but in regards to the books that are coming into libraries, it just happens that is part of my platform. And part of my platform is to, for parents to expose the books that are in the library, and for parents to know what's in there, and for parents to give consent to those books, whether they will allow their child to check them out or not. So I'm not advocating to banning the books. I'm saying let's expose them and give the parents the opportunity to at least give consent to these books. And you're right, we're getting books into our libraries that, it just kind of makes you scratch your mind, and your head a little bit, thinking, how in the world is this book conducive to my child's learning? Granted, I don't live in Iraq. My family doesn't live in Iraq. We have the same challenges as any family. My children, they are, one is a little bit different, which I'm not going to say what she's different. Right. So I am not living in Iraq and not knowing that we've got families that are different than my family, right? But I don't believe, in my humble opinion, that the school, the classroom, is a safe environment for children to have questions and conversations that are not academically at all. You know, you were saying that what you brought up just now, that children are going to go through its period of changing internally. There's things psychologically that they're going to be battling with. And so they're trying to figure those things out for themselves. I don't believe that the classroom setting is the appropriate place to have that kind of dialogue with a teacher, especially a teacher that is not a licensed therapist, because these are very sensitive topics, and you are putting your children in an environment where they could be susceptible to bullying. And our children are not in a state where they're emotionally intelligent and mature to handle those kind of conversations and to even give words to what they're feeling inside in some cases. And even adults are also struggling as well. So with that being said, I am not saying that I'm not aware of our differences in our families, and that my kids may be with different people that look different than themselves. I'm not saying that at all. I know they're going to be exposed to that. But what I'm saying is that we need to do a better job of protecting our children. In some of the conversations, I just don't believe the setting is meant to be in the classrooms. And so as part of my platform is for parents to be aware of the kinds of books that our children could be potentially checking out from the library. And some of these books are starting from the elementary school. And I could, give examples, but I don't want to bring more controversial, because it's a very controversial topic. But they do exist, and some parents are not aware. And some people will say that it does not exist. And I'm saying, yes, it does exist.
Wow. And I mean, because I know my granddaughter, my daughter was telling me one of the books that her daughter brought home, and I'm just like, I mean, it's full of stereotypes and all of that. And then she was saying how there was a movie that she didn't want her daughter to watch, and my granddaughter said, "Well, Mom, I voted no, but they had her to watch it anyway," and I'm just like, when did we get to the point where they feel like they can just override what the parent says and do whatever they want to do? A 5-year-old child, 6-year-old child, heck, even a 10, 12-year-old child, they cannot go and get a driver's license. Well, I mean, some states you might be able to get a driver's license at 12, but you can't get a driver's license. You can't go. A child cannot go and purchase beer or cigarettes, and they can't make some other major decisions. But you're gonna give them this stuff here, talking about it just boggles the mind of what they're actually trying to do. And so that was obviously one of the things. What are some of the other issues? Now, I don't know if you want to extend this, or if you want to cut it off at 30 minutes or go, because we can
talk forever, right?
Because I mean, this is awareness needs to go out, and people need to know what is actually going on in the schools. And just because school is out for the summer, I mean, this is when I would think that they're beginning to plan for the new school year, and what would be like some of the other issues that school boards are making, or they're facing, some of the other stuff that is coming up that the parents need to be aware of.
Well, for me, for our county, there are county specific issues. So you've got the grander federal issues that are seeping in every school board that we kind of touched on. But I want to say something really quickly and interject here. When we talk about these issues coming from a faith-based type of perspective, it becomes all of a sudden like we're against this or against that. And I just want to say to anyone that's listening to this, and your viewers, is that God loves everyone.
Yes.
God is a God of love, and he loves you regardless of your skin color, what struggles you're going through, and your sexuality. Like, he loves you very, very much. And so for me, as we're talking about this, I'm teaching my children to be kind and loving, and our schools should also be about being a place where they're kind and loving towards each other, but respectful of one another's differences. Right. And we're kind of moving away from that. It seems like you either agree a certain point of view, but if you disagree that point of view, you're quickly label all these things like it's just like a, just
right.
Quickly. And so we've got to come back to, somehow our society needs to come back to a place where we can both stand side by side and have differences of opinion, but be able to walk away and still be friends at the end of the day. It seems like we are not capable to do that right now. And so I am hopeful that we could get back to that, turn things around. And the other point I want to make is that in regards to the parents and the school board and the government and all that, is that the comments that are being made, especially when you parents hear, well, we know what's best for your children, and so we're gonna override your decision because we're the subject expert matters. When you hear that as a parent, you become like this mama bear or this papa bear because you want to protect your house. And so the government is, in its essence, almost saying that you don't matter. As a parent, you don't matter to your child. And so then that just causes us to be at war with the system because of the comments that are being made. And what the government, the reason why it's there is because of you and I giving money. I mean, we are taxpayers. And we're funding these systems. So it should matter to us what our kids are being taught because we're paying into the system and there are children at the end of the day. But we've got to get back to a way where we can work with each other. I support the teachers. I do a lot for schools through my husband's organization in Nashville. We've gone to multiple schools and just shown up and understand what the needs are in the schools so that we can provide for them and subsidize some of the costs. Our teachers are overworked right now. They're feeling burnt out. Our teachers in our county, they are leaving because of the amount of work and stress and the burnout that they're feeling. And so even though we're talking this piece about the parent side, we can't really neglect the teachers because they're the ones who are taking care of our children when we're not present. And we've got to come back to where we can have that confidence and trust, because it just seems right now like we're just on the attack. But we need to come back and say, we support the teachers. It's a thankless job, and we want to be there and do what we can so that we can have a better relationship. And it's for the benefit for our children at the end of the day.
Right. So let me ask you, since you brought up about the teachers, which is a very good point, and I do want to say also that I wholeheartedly agree with you that, we need to know and understand. I think when they took prayer out of schools, that was one of the most hurtful things that they could have done, because now you saying, oh, well, God was no longer welcome in the schools. And so when prayer went out, probably compassion, love, and some of those other things went out with it. And when I spoke at the school board, and I told them, I said, I'm not trying to shove the Bible down your throat, but if we just return to loving one another, as the Bible says, because, the Bible tells us to love, do unto others as we would have it done unto us. If we return back to that, and I just truly believe that it would be a whole lot. But see, they don't want to teach this stuff because this stuff is the Bible, and they feel like, oh, well, it's religion. But there are some of the teachers that don't want to teach the curriculum that is before them as well. And then they're faced with some hard choices. Well, teach this or be fired. Teach this, or you'll no longer be able to teach at another school or anything like that. So I imagine it is quite a fight of, because I mean, we've seen some people who have spoken up who are also teachers, and I mean, it is something that is a very uphill battle that we are facing. So with people like you who are running for school board, I almost threw my name in the hat, but we had somebody in our district that was already a strong contender. So I was like, well, you know what? I'll just go ahead and support her. I don't have to be the ringleader as long as we get strong people in there who will want to stand for the right principles. So with that, I want you, and we can, talk about some other stuff, but I want you to let us know, because you do have your website, which is voteforfrancesrosales.com. And this is how they can get in touch with you, how they can find out about more about you and your platform. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so you can definitely find, more information about my platform on voteforfrancesrosales.com, and the 4 is the number 4. And I did that purposely so that people that were interested in why I was running, the platform that I was on, and the solutions that I was going to bring to the table will get that information all in one place instead of just having it all on social media. I think it was just a lot easier to have it on the website. But you can also follow me on social media. Frances Rosales, candidate for Rutherford County Zone 7. And in my social media, I'm pretty vocal about the issues that are pertaining to Rutherford County. And I have been, since day one, been really speaking out on where I stand on several issues. And it's also a good place to have a dialogue too, and kind of get feedback from our constituents as well. But you can definitely get information about my campaign and why I'm running from the website and also on Facebook, and you can follow me there. And I would love to get more followers and continue growing my social media.
That's it. And so to find out some of the issues that are going on in the Rutherford County. Now she is in Tennessee. Yes. So because I had put up and I forgot to put the state. And so some people were like, from that were here in Tallahassee, were like, well, what zone? I'm not familiar with that. And I was like, oh, I forgot. She's in Tennessee. So Rutherford County, or in Tennessee, she is running for school board Zone 7. And if you go to her website or you go to the Facebook page, you will see some of the issues. And I'm just looking at it. One of the things is like restore parental rights, which is a huge thing, because again, I don't know where they came up with this thing that we send our children to school, that all of a sudden we're giving up our parental rights. No, you only have them for what, 7-8 hours? They're not yours. They still have to come back. And what you're telling them doesn't override what I'm teaching them at home, how I want them to be brought up, what I want them to believe. I've never seen something like this. It's crazy. You have something to say on that?
Well, it doesn't help at the federal level that the DOJ has come out and labeled parents terrorists simply for standing up for their children. So that doesn't help at all when the federal government sees you as a threat to what you're trying to accomplish. So what does a parent do? You don't want to cause or create waves unnecessary. You don't want to be at a war with your teachers or your principals or whatever. So like myself personally, I'm of the mindset that you get more done when it's a collaborative environment where you can partner with each other. You get a lot more done. And I also know you're not always going to have the same opinions. You're not going to agree on everything. But as a society, in teaching our children, how do adults work together that are on the different playing sides of the fields? That's what we've got to start going back to. And we're missing that. And I'm hoping, and I plan on doing that once I'm elected. But there's just quite a bit of things that we are currently having to navigate through. And the government at the federal level definitely is not helping that at all. So
that's good. So it's like, I'm curious, even what happened to, like, when I was growing up, it was PTA, the PTA, and that was the huge thing. What happened to the PTA? I mean, and I thought the whole, like, with, I don't know what it's called, child welfare, DCF or department, whatever it's called, whatever agency is, different states and everything. But I thought the whole goal was to reunite the children back to their biological parents. But it seems like now that this agenda that is going on is trying to separate the children from their biological parents. It just, again, it boggles the mind. So these are some things that Francis is going to stand up for, restoring the parental rights. And we have to be aware of what our rights are so we can know. And I believe that even goes with, and not to, go into anything different, but I believe that even goes through with our Constitution. We have to know and understand what our rights are so that we can stand and defend them and know where we're going, where we're heading. Another issue that you have is addressing rezoning issues.
Yeah. So that's the issues. And so I haven't really talked about that because it really pertains to my county. So like I said, every board member, their platform is not necessarily going to be on topics that is a global topic, like what we discussed, the restoring parental rights, and then the transparency in a curriculum. That's something that's happening across nationwide. But there are obviously there's specific issues that pertain to the county, and for us is the rezoning. And the reason why that is there is because our county is the fourth largest district. In the school year 2023 and 2024, we're getting an additional 2,000 students. So we're averaging about 2,000 students, new students every year. And so it's getting to the point where we just don't have that capacity to have kids going to the different schools that they're rezoned. And something that the school board's member and the school has been doing for the past 4 years is rezoning our kids so that we can fit them and have the room and the space for all of them. So 4 years ago, we had a new school and it was supposed to be taking care of this issue. But within, 2 or 3 years of the school being open, it's already at capacity. Plus, it has 12 new portables. So it's caused the schools to go through a rezone. And where the area that I live, our area, my neighborhood has been susceptible to rezoning. So it was rezoned 2 years ago, and then 2 years later, this year, they were looking into rezoning again. And so I worked with other parents and really fought that to keep our neighborhood from being rezoned. And the reason is because the school that they wanted to put us was about 30 minutes from us. So it was on the other side of the county versus the school that was literally down the street about 5 minutes from where we live. It just made no sense for us to be rezoned to a school that was going to take longer. And so I want to, this is an issue for me because we need our county commissioners who are partners with the school board to work with us and come up with a solution that's more of a long-term solution. So I have been in communication with our county commissioners, even those that have been running for candidate, and our mayor for our candidate as well, in trying to understand what the plan is and how do we combat that issue. And so so that's why I'm there, so that I can be a voice to our families. And it impacts not just my families, but the other families that have been impacted in the other parts of the county, because it's the same families that get rezoned over and over again. So it's time for a solution at this point.
Well, and that is much needed. And I'm quite sure, even though that specific thing is for your county, I'm sure there are others where those issues are just as relevant. I know with my daughter, my granddaughter, there's a school that's maybe like, I would say like within 2 miles of her, and where it's like around the corner, but she's zoned for something different. So she got to go to a school that's like 10 minutes. And I'm like, that makes no sense. She said, Mom, I know. I don't either. I mean, she could practically walk to the school over here, but she got to now take a bus that's way over there because of the. I'm like, that is so crazy. Some stuff just it just be like, it boggles your mind and just. Okay, so last thing for your issue number 3 is promoting transparency. And I think we talked about this a little bit. Promoting transparency of school system, curriculum options. So again, I'm sure that goes back to, I don't know if they have started the CRT or the other stuff in your schools, but I know here it is a fight here in Leon County. It is a fight with some of this stuff. And I'm sorry, you may have a good governor, but we have the best governor, Ron DeSantis. We have the best governor who has blocked all of that stuff. We still have people in the school boards and all of that who are fighting against him, which is like crazy. But, at least he has the legislation, I guess you call it, in place. They say we're not teaching our kids the whole stuff with the LGBTQ and LMOP and the CRT stuff. So what is the issues there with you?
So similar to what your governor has done in regards to the CRT, there's a bill that was passed either last year or this year, but anyway, it's been recent. And it was passed last year before school started. So it tacked on the 7 tenets of CRT. So technically, the Tennessee is not allowed to teach CRT.
Okay, cool.
So, but with that being said, it doesn't mean that CRT is not being taught. I've been told by some teachers that it's not there, that is not being taught. So it comes to a point where you have to have some trust with the teachers to say, okay, if it's not being taught, then we're gonna trust your statement, what you're saying, because we got to get back on the trust thing with our teachers. But in the state of Tennessee, CRT is banned from our classrooms, so that's a good thing. We have that to kind of do that. So the other stuff, that is just something that we're having to be a little bit more vigilant and watchful of, not because we're trying to create an environment where we're not accepting of other different kinds of peoples, but we need to be careful in how the conversations that we're bringing up in our classrooms, because like I said, those conversations I don't believe is the most safe to be talked in the classroom setting. So so we have that, at least with a law for CRT. And something some people have said in regards to CRT is to say that we're trying to get rid of Black history. And I am, for one, I'm not trying to get rid of Black history, because I love history, and we have to teach our history. And our history wasn't always pretty. We can all agree to that. We can all agree that our history, it wasn't all roses and peaches, and there's things about it that makes me sad. There's some movies that's hard for me to watch because of how ugly things were. I mean, I just saying it like that. So, but what I do think we need to start doing is that we need to start elevating the positive achievements that we have done, especially in the minority group, right? Whether you like Obama or not, we can say as a society that we have a biracial Black president. Whether you like VP Harris or not, you can say that we have a Black biracial VP. Oprah Winfrey is like the number one businesswoman mogul here in the world. You've got a millionaire athletes who are minority making records and all that. So there's good accomplishments that people of color have been able to accomplish, like your skin color, and we don't talk about that. We stay so locked down on the negative that we're still living in the world of where you can't make it because of your skin color. And so I think it's time that we start lifting those achievements, because you can make it. And we've got people that are like that we can look up to, that our children can look up to. And that's something I'm a huge proponent of, is to start talking about the accomplishments that people of color are able to do. And also start looking at some of the things that happened in the civil rights movement as our heroes. We don't look at Ruby Bridges as a hero. She is a hero. I mean, she paved the way for someone like myself and someone like you, so we can have classrooms where they're inclusive of different colors. We don't have to be divided. And so that's how I look at things when it comes to the racial aspect of things, is to looking at from a positive spin. And that's something that I advocate very much all the time and will always do.
And that's it. I wholeheartedly agree with you. My whole thing with that is, why not just teach history? Just teach it happened.
Mm-hmm.
It already happened. So teach what happened and the lessons that we can learn from what happened. Because if you hide all of the so-called bad stuff, then you're doomed to repeat it. Because you don't learn from your past. You don't learn from it. So I don't get, that it's like they're trying to hide it because they don't want to show the ugliness. They don't want to show the bad parts. But then if you don't, then down the line, the next generation is just going to repeat all the stuff that happened. It could be avoided. And my whole thing with that is, okay, yeah, there were many people of all different races well, I'm not even going to say races, because there's only one race, is the human race, but of many different ethnicities that have contributed great things to this nation, to this world. And so we have to get to the point where we look at people, like you said, not based on the color of your skin, not based on how you look or how you speak or anything like that, but the fact that, okay, you are an individual, you are a person made by God. We all came into this world the same way, but we have to realize our value in who we are as a child of God. Whether we are living for him or not, we have to realize who we are, but know that the possibilities are endless. It's up to you. You can be whatever you want to be, but it's going to take work. And I don't want to infringe upon your rights because I don't want to get up and do something. But this is what we're seeing, because you don't want to get up and do something. Oh, so I shouldn't have whatever. And that's not it. I don't think that a Caucasian person, I don't feel like a white person has to come and apologize to me for their whiteness. That's crazy. Like, I don't feel like I understand my ancestors went through what they went through. I didn't. I'm not a slave, unless you're a slave to sin, but I'm not that either. But we have okay. I don't have time to go into that, but again, just thanking you for that. Some of the things that you have spoken and talked about, what you're running on the platform, your platform that you're running on, because those are very important issues. We need to let the people know, let the children know, the school board know, look, these are our children. I have a say, and God gave them to me and how to raise them. you're only aiding me in educating them, because otherwise, and I know everybody can't do this, but it would just be something, homeschooling or private schools. And then you find, we're not going to get into that, because you find even some of the private schools are, but at home with the homeschooling and all of that. So we will probably have to come back again and talk again, especially after you get elected. Yes. Because we're claiming victory. All right. So once again, I want you to tell us, number one, when is the election, what people need to do in order to cast their vote, and where to go in order to get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So the elections are going to be held in August the 4th. So it's literally around the corner. Early voting starts July 15th through July 30th. So early voting is about to start within a week. So you can contact me on my social media. Again, my Facebook page is Frances Rosales, candidate for Rutherford County, Zone 7. You can also contact me through my website. I have a contact form that you can fill out and submit, and I can get that information there. Again, the website address is www.voteforfrancesrosales.com, and the 4 is the number 4.
Awesome. So be sure to go out. I mean, we still have some time left in July, but August 4th is coming up real soon, real quick. So make sure that you are informed about the candidates in your area. And if you are in, Murfreesboro. I don't know why that is so difficult for me. If you're in Murfreesboro, Rutherford County, Zone 7, you know the person to vote for right here is Frances Rosales. So be sure to look her up and spread the word, tell everybody about it, and just know that she is going to do that which is right, what is right for your children. So we just thank you again for spending this time here with us. Look her up on Facebook. And again, when you have your victory lap, we're going to be sure to be there with you. Be sure.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for this opportunity just to speak to your listeners. And I really appreciate that. So thank you so much.
Oh, we appreciate your time. And we met in Nashville at the Road to Majority, the Faith and Freedom Coalition. And I'm telling you, it was a godsend. And I'm just thanking God that she is on the winning side for the Lord and for this school board vote that is coming up. So Frances, once again, I just want to thank you again for being here with us. And God bless you. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Bring us out.
Thank you for joining Apostle Des here for Kingdom Living Today. To contact us, visit our website at www.ikingdomministries.org. Find us on Facebook at iKingdom Ministries or on YouTube at iKingdom TV. To send a donation online, go to ikingdomministries.org or contact us for Cash App, PayPal, or Zelle. Until next time, be blessed.